Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Educators, Performers, Creators Show. My name is Paulino Brener. This is the EPC show, special edition, Puppets on Air. This might be, I can't guarantee, this might be the first live interview with puppets. And today we're gonna learn more about some puppets and their creators. We are live for everyone to watch, but also to send your questions. You can send your questions. You can leave a comment on Google Plus, or if you're watching on YouTube, you can leave a comment on the YouTube video as well. If you like to send questions on Twitter, use the hashtag EPC show, and we'll do our best to answer your questions during this live interview. I have a bunch of interesting characters here, and I'll go right ahead and start with Winston. Hello, Winston.
Oh, hello. Is it my turn already?
It is. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm feeling a little sad today.
Well, why is that?
Well, I don't know. I just felt like I woke up on the wrong side of the bed this morning.
What side was that?
I woke up under the bed.
Oh, so on that side, under the bed.
Yeah. And I'm a monkey mind pirate. I'm supposed to be fierce. But I'm just not feeling up to being fierce today.
Oh, is there anything we can do to help you?
Oh, I need to find the island of calm. Does anybody know how I can find calm?
I don't know where it is, but let me see who else is here. Maybe all together we can find out.
All right.
Okay. We also have Ollie. Hello, Ollie.
Hey, hello everybody.
How are you?
I'm very good. I'm loving the rain.
Ollie, where are you from?
Nebraska.
Oh, okay. How are you in Nebraska right now?
No, I'm in Minnesota.
Wow, that's a long way from Nebraska.
I traveled.
You like to travel. Well, welcome, Ollie. I hope we can learn a lot about you.
Good.
Great. We also have Moose. Hello, Moose.
Hey,
How are you?
I'm pretty good. You know, I'm glad I don't have to type today. Can't do it.
You don't have to do what?
Type, like on the keyboard.
Oh, why is that? Why are you glad you don't have to type?
Well, like the other day, I was playing around with my puppet buds, and I tried to do an HOA, and I didn't think ahead, and I tried to type, and it just went nowhere because I got hooves.
Oh, it was hard for you to type then.
Yeah, so we just like played around and, made the boss kind of, well, thanks to Elephant, she didn't know like all the mess we made because he cleaned it up.
You needed a opposable thumb.
That could have been handy.
Winston, do you have an opposable thumb?
I do, because I'm a monkey.
Oh, I didn't know monkeys have opposable thumbs.
Yeah, well, sometimes it opposes me. It depends on what I'm trying to do.
So,
what about your big toe?
Oh, yes. Ollie and Moose. Winston is trying to find the island of calm. Do you know anything about it?
The island of calm? Oh.
Yeah, I've heard it's really beautiful, and anywhere you go there, you feel calm.
I can't get on boats.
No.
I only get in like, I wade in the water. I don't get on the boat.
Well, you got to be seaworthy, that's true.
Yeah.
There might be other ways to get to calm besides the boat, though. I don't know.
Well, let's see. Ollie, I see what are you eating? Is that a corn? What are you eating?
I smell a banana.
Yes, my banana, but Winston, would just eating a banana help?
That would be great. I love bananas.
I wish I could share it with you.
Is there a way you could just put it on the little box on the right side of the screen?
Maybe. Is there a banana icon on yours?
No. Let me look. No, I don't see any.
Oh.
Okay. Will a banana calm you down, Winston?
Yes. Yes. And maybe I could take a deep breath, too.
Oh, taking a deep breath. I see. Oh. Okay.
No, yoga helps. I've attended like moose yoga. That's really relaxing.
Have you tried moose yoga, Moose?
Yeah, I get tangled up sometimes, but it's, if there's always somebody there to untangle me.
Who helps you untangle?
The moose yoga instructor.
The moose yoga instructor. I see.
You do the downward facing moose?
Yeah,
Hey.
we don't do that dog thing. It's moose.
Good.
That's funny. It helps to laugh, too.
Yeah.
So, Winston, if you like to laugh, what do you find funny?
Jokes.
What kind of jokes?
Really, any kind that are funny. I don't like the ones that aren't funny, though. Let's see.
Do you know any funny jokes?
I'm trying to think of a moose joke, but I'm not very good at remembering the punchlines.
Okay.
Oh, I got it.
Yeah?
Why did the moose cross the road?
To find the chicken.
Ah!
No, but that's better than what I got. It was nobody knows.
Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Margo, how about you? What do you find funny? Oh, excuse me, Ollie. Ollie, how about you? What do you find funny?
Well, I do like jokes. I like good jokes, funny jokes. Like, I'm trying to think of one. Let me think. I can't think of any now, Paulino. That's a hard question.
I got a joke.
What's your joke, Winston?
Knock, knock.
Who's
Who's
there?
Banana.
Banana who?
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Banana.
Banana who? I mean banana.
Knock,
Who?
knock.
Who's there?
There?
Banana.
Banana who?
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Orange.
Oh,
Orange too.
Aren't you glad I didn't say banana?
Yeah.
Moose, so I heard you are actually very smart, but you have a little bit of you have this problem when you try to type. Could you find another way to type, maybe?
Well, my elephant friend said I could use my trunk, but I don't have one of those. I have a suitcase, but that still doesn't work. So then I thought, fish said I could use my fins, but I don't have that either. So I think I'm just going to look around the desk and see if I can tape some pencils to my hooves. That could help.
Ah, you can type with pencils. Right. Excellent. Ollie, do you like to type?
I do not like to type. I really don't. I've got my soft fingers.
What do you like to do then?
Well, I like to run around, and I like to eat bananas, and I also, I like to dance the tango.
The tango.
Doesn't it take two to do that?
Ooh.
What did you say?
Doesn't it take two to do that?
Well, yes, but I have a girlfriend. Her name is Allegra. You should see her. She is a true beauty.
And where is she?
I met her at the tango club.
Oh. But where? Where did you meet her?
at the Loring Pasta Bar on Tango Night.
Ooh.
Nice.
So romantic.
You're very romantic. Now, Ollie, don't you also do shows besides dancing tango? Don't you like to do shows?
Oh yeah, I love doing shows. I do all kinds of shows.
What kind of shows?
I did a show with my friend Gayla, who's a photographer, and we did a tour on Lake Street, which is a wonderful business street on in Minneapolis. And we went to different stores, and we took pictures of me doing things with the proprietors. Like at Robert's Shoes, I got fitted for big giant shoes that we made out of shoe boxes.
Wow.
I had my nails done at Do Me Nails, stuff like that.
Do they do hooves there too?
I think they would. You should come with us.
I'll have to start walking because I'm in Ohio, so I'll try.
Okay. I'll look for you in a couple of weeks.
Okay. I'll be on the road. You'll see me.
That might help your typing problem if you got your nails done.
Excellent.
Moose, do you like jokes? Moose, do you like jokes too?
Yeah, I do. Sometimes I don't get all of them because I've got like moose brain, but I try.
Yeah. Well, I think Richard, who's watching now, I don't know if he's a friend of yours, he sent a joke about a moose. He says, "What's your favorite moose?"
Oh, you know, did he spell that like ice cream or because?
Then he adds, "Chocolate mousse."
Yeah, because that is, you know, I've been called that before, and I don't know if it's an insult or not. You know, when people say, "Hey, you chocolate mousse," you know, they yell at me when I'm on the road, so I, you know, kind of step off.
I think that is a compliment.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I was on a ship once with a chocolate mousse.
And how did that go?
It didn't last long. It was a short voyage.
And
it was
Winston,
delicious.
it was delicious. Winston, I think we got a question for you as well.
All right.
Eli, it says, "Are you offended that no major sports team have adopted a monkey as a mascot? What do you think about that?"
Oh, I don't know. I'm not very good at sports, so I think if they did adopt me as a mascot, they probably wouldn't win.
Because you are not good at sports?
Right. I think that major sports teams maybe should not have any mascots.
Oh. Why is
No
that?
mascots.
Yeah. What if instead they just, or I know, what if they had, instead of mascots, they called themselves after, like, natural disasters?
That's an interesting idea.
The Minnesota tornado
Yeah.
or hurricane.
All
Or
right.
the tsunami.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are really good names. I mean, here in Ohio, they got a football team named the Ohio State Buckeyes, and Buckeyes not like the deer with the not like a deer with the pretty eyes. It's like a nut from a tree. It's like crazy. It's like, watch out, the mighty Buckeyes, crazy nuts.
Good. So, Winston, do you have any questions for Ollie? I know that you guys maybe met. Have you ever met Ollie, Winston?
Only virtually.
Only virtually. Well, do you have any questions for him?
Ollie, what do you do to have fun?
Wow. Oh, let me think. Well, I like to climb trees. I bet you like that too.
Yeah, that is fun.
Yeah. I like to go on picnics.
Ooh. With bananas.
Banana cream pie. bananas, malts, the works.
Yeah. Well, we should climb trees sometimes.
I love it. But you have such a good tail, and I do not.
Oh, that helps me with my balance most of the time. But I don't know. Sometimes I think I just got a button for an eye.
Oh,
A scrap of a teddy bear for a tail.
oh, Winston, you're so lucky, though. You are a fine-looking fellow.
Oh, you think so?
You've got the Ollie stamp of approval.
Oh, thank you. I hear that's worth a lot in Minnesota.
It is worth a little bit.
Moose, how about you? Do you have any questions for Winston or Ollie?
Well, yeah. I wanted to know, like, I'm new at this, so do puppets ever tell their age? Like, there's like a green frog on. He's like a puppet, and his name is a K. Starts with a K. I know that. But I don't know how old he is, and I never have heard puppets say how old they are. So do I never ever tell my age?
We're ageless.
Ageless. That's it.
Well, kind of. I'm 42. I was 42 the day I was made, and I'm 42 now. Over
How'd you get that?
30 years later.
Oh, that's neat. I like that way of thinking about it.
When my puppeteer made me, she was younger than me. Now she's older.
Whoa.
What do you think about that?
That's because we never age.
I guess you're right.
That's why we never ask the question.
Now, Ollie, you mentioned your puppeteer made you long time ago, so you might know her very well, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
But
I do.
That's great, but I want to ask you, all three of you, do you ever have any problems? You run into any problems with your puppeteer sometimes?
He's a pain in the butt.
Tell me more about it.
Oh, no, I don't. I'm just teasing. I don't really have any problems. I couldn't really exist without him.
Okay. How about you, Moose?
Well, can I tell a secret about my boss, I suppose?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nobody can hear this.
Okay, she's like not here yet, so I'm going to tell it. She's really embarrassed that when she was in high school, she was in drama class, and she was like so bad with like remembering the script and stuff. So rather than failing her, the drama teacher said, just do a puppet show so you can get a C. And that was the beginning.
Oh dear.
Get a C?
She got a C, and she never. She kind of liked puppets for that reason, because she got through the class.
That's a good story. I'm glad. I'm glad that happened, so now she can like puppet. What about you, Ollie? Do you ever get in any discussions with your puppeteer?
I talk to her a lot, actually. In fact, she kind of gives me a lot of power, because one time she was going to do a puppet show with me, and she said, well, what should it be about? And so we took a car trip, and I talked the whole time. All the way.
Did you drive, Ollie?
I did not drive. No, you do not want me driving.
No.
No.
I see. Well, I think it's time to meet your creators, your puppeteers. So I'm going to give you a moment to call them out while I'll tell everyone a little bit about this show, the Educators, Performers, and Creators show. So please call your puppeteers. I like to talk to them.
Boss.
Thank you for being in the show.
Bye.
Bye. Everyone, So we just had a little taste of what it is to talk to puppets, and I hope you enjoy that. And now I'd like to invite their creators. Remember, if you're watching this live, you can send your questions. We're going to meet the creators right now. You can leave a comment in the Google Plus event page on YouTube, or you can send a tweet using EPC show hashtag. So with that, I like to tell you that EPC Show is created to blend the technology of Hangouts on air and the talent of many educators, performers, and creators out there. And today, I have three guests, and one of them, who jumped right in, comes from the social media side of things, of the business, and she is Melanie. Hello, Melanie.
Hey, Paulina. Thank you for having me here today, and Moose.
How are you doing?
I'm doing really good. Really
Good.
super good.
Well, I'm very excited that you join us and you thought this was an interesting opportunity. Let's put it that way. You do a lot of hangouts on air. Can you tell us a little more about that?
Well, I do two shows where I'm the host and one show where I guess I'm a co-host. And two shows come on Monday, and one is Lights, Camera, HOA, and that's for people who are new to hang out on air, and they can get their camera shyness, overcome that. And then right after that, we have Women in Business Today, which is a serious show with other women business owners, and we talk about topics. And then on Tuesday, I'm with Tom Coleman and Dustin C. Slade, and we talk about the techie side of Google+. And then I am a guest on various shows now and then. So, like today, I'm a guest on your show, Paulina.
Excellent. I'm glad that you're here, and I know that you have lots of ideas of how HOA can do for a business, can do for people who are trying to promote their ideas or connect to others. So I'm going to put you on the spot and criticize us a little bit, or me, I guess, with this idea of educators, performers, creators. What do you think? What do you think it does to connect to audiences? How do you see it? What's your take?
I think it's time we do it. It is time. We have the technology, so let's just do it. Figure out how it works. Figure out how we can enhance and improve the lives of others, and do it. Otherwise, let's just stay with our Model Ts, and we have the technology. Let's do it.
Great. Well, thank you for being here, and please feel free to jump in with any questions to our other guest here, Margo McCreary. Before I bring you in, Margo, full disclaimer, Margo and I are currently on a touring show that we're doing together called the On-Time Circus. But today we're going to talk more about Margo the Puppeteer. Hi, Margo.
Hi, Paulino. Thanks for having me. You're always on the cutting edge of technology, so I always know when I'm working with you that I'm going to learn something new. Well, if you're talking to me, I'm not hearing it, so.
Just as you said, he's in the cutting edge of technology. I think he cut out. That's how cutting edge he is.
Oh, my goodness.
It's just us now, huh?
Well, while we're waiting for him to come back,
yeah.
Hey, Margo and Chris, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. How was your first experience with this?
It's really interesting. I kind of like it. I'm sitting here on my couch in my own living room and with my computer on my lap. It's fun. Meeting new people virtually. And then Chris, of course. Haven't seen you for a while because you've been so busy.
I know. Right. Hi.
Hi. Yeah.
And is Paulina back? I see him. Tell us, Margo, he was about to mention that you're on a tour with him.
Yeah. We're working on a project called the On-Time Circus, and actually got some funding from the Minnesota State Arts Board to tour it around Minnesota. So that's really exciting, and it's just been a real pleasure. I mean, it's been a huge amount of work. We've got a trailer that a friend who's an inventor built, made out of things that I collected around Minnesota, like a granary and a car type, a topper, and things like that. So, anyways, we're touring this show in the trailer around Minnesota, and the show, Paulino's playing the main character, Ms. Talk, who is obsessed with timeliness. It's fun.
So Margo, I know,
it's really fun.
I know that you've done a lot with Ollie over decades, right? Do you remember even what your first inspiration for Ollie was and how Ollie came to be?
Oh, yes. Yeah. Ollie, the very first show I did with Ollie, he was an industrial giant, so I needed to make a big puppet. And he was the CEO of a toilet paper factory. And there was this young character named Sarah Ottertail, just a little hand puppet, who was doing her 4-H project about the pollution in the river. Well, Ollie's like this obnoxious, and it's funny you ask, because I brought like the first, my first attempt at Ollie.
Wow.
And I made it out of paper mache, and I sculpted it. And look at, I mean, and so I just thought, oh my gosh, it's just too stiff.
Yeah.
So then I tried cutting around its mouth to see if that would help it, but then I got going with cloth. So, anyways, Ollie was really fun to work with, so I kept working with him as just his own self. He quit the toilet paper factory, so thanks for asking that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and Chris, what's the story with your monkey?
Winston is part of a crew of monkeys that are with a show that we do. My company is called Puppets Rosenschnaz, and my wife and I create performances and tour around the country combining puppets, music, and physical comedy. And Monkey Mind Pirates came out of two things. One was that we often in our shows, we find that audiences will take a line or two from our shows and repeat them for a long time afterwards, 6 months even, or a year afterwards. And when we created a new show, we wanted to think, well, could we put some messages into the show that we want people to be repeating? And also at the same time, we do a lot of work in schools. And I noticed that over the last, 5 or 10 years, it seems like the climate in schools has gotten a lot more stressful, and children are taking on the stress of the adults around them. And I noticed in my teaching that just bringing a little bit of yoga or a little bit of attention to finding calm really helped. So even just as simple as saying, hey, let's all take a deep breath together, would help me, and it would help the students also. So we created this show called Monkey Mind Pirates, which kind of combines those things. We embedded into the show these themes of giving children and families a language to talk about stress. So Winston is obviously very sad and depressed. There's another character who's very anxious and worries a lot. And there's another character who's distracted and has a hard time focusing on anything. And then we also encourage the audience and students to think about their own monkeys. What other monkeys might they have that keep them from finding calm? So that's Winston's story, and he was created about 4 years ago. And since then we've been working with a lot of different groups, and actually Margo has helped us sometimes working with a lot of different groups in schools and in community centers, and we worked with the St. Paul American Indian Foundation and the Minnesota Autism Society and the Down Syndrome Association, so a lot of special needs also. And we found that, I think this is one of the things that attracts me to puppetry a lot, is that people will respond to puppets in a way that they won't respond to humans. So they'll say things to a puppet that they would never say to another human. And that is fascinating to me, I think.
Yeah.
True.
It really is, and to focus on what you just said, Chris, about children and people connecting to puppets. When my daughter was like in 2nd grade, she caused them like havoc on the playground because when it was windy, she thought a tornado was coming. So she would like terrify the kids, would like rush the school and say, you know, at the recess, let me in, let me in. And so we were getting nowhere with explaining to her, like, when it's windy, it doesn't mean a tornado's coming. And so then the school said, wait a minute, we have a counselor and she's going to bring a puppet in. So would you like to attend that session? So we attended the session, and the counselor had this dolphin puppet. And the dolphin puppet asked her, why are you afraid of the wind? And she talked to the puppet. So the dolphin explained about the wind and the tornado, and it never happened again.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Hello, I'm back.
Yay!
We took over the show.
Thank you. Technology happens. Technology glitches happen. Thank you, Melanie.
Yeah, Melody's keep got it going.
Well, I knew you would come back, and we just, you know, and Margo and Chris jumped in too, and we're like, fine.
Excellent. Well, as I come in, can you hear me with an echo, or can you hear me okay?
There is a little echo.
Okay. I'll work on that. Okay. While I work on that, I'm going to share a comment. Okay. There we are. Better now. Can you still hear me?
It's fine. You're no more echo.
Okay, great. So I want to share a comment from Giselle Mejia, who has been watching with her son, who is 5, and he says, my son, 5, was very engaged with the jokes, by the way. And she has a question for the puppeteers.
Yeah.
Do you still feel vulnerable as a puppet, or do you lose most reservations as your puppet character? Who would like to take that?
Well,
I think. Oh, go ahead, Chris.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that for me personally, I lose a lot of reservations with a puppet, or I get caught up in the character and I let the character go where it wants to go. But what I find is that a lot of my characters tend to be vulnerable characters. And I think that's because the audience responds really well. If somebody sees a character that's more vulnerable than they are, they respond with empathy. And they want to, like with Winston, oftentimes when I bring Winston out and he starts getting sad, actually this happened about 2 weeks ago. We were working with adults with special needs. And so because they were adults, you know, that it was interesting. These particular group worked in they all had jobs that they worked in carrying things or on construction sites or something. So there was this pack of about 4 really big burly guys with stubby chins, and they were wearing construction outfits, and I thought, I don't know how this puppet is going to work with them. I felt a little bit self-conscious about bringing Winston out in front of them, but I did, and pretty quickly, like as soon as he started talking about how sad he was, they jumped in immediately and started telling Winston, not me, but telling Winston why he needs to look at the bright side of life and why he should not be so depressed and not be so sad. And they actually lined up to give Winston a hug. And I just thought that was so interesting that these, big, brawny guys could respond to a puppet in that way. So I think vulnerability, I think, actually carries a lot of power.
Yes.
Great. Melanie, you had a comment?
I was, I'm not at the caliber as Margo and Chris, but I know that puppets are allowed to ad lib. So I love when the puppets that are on the end of my hand, they can say what they want and they don't have to memorize lines. That was my life-saving thing in school.
Yeah.
Margo, what is your take?
My take is that just being willing to let the character respond and say what it wants to say takes a certain amount of vulnerability just as an actor, you know, inside the puppet, so that you're really working at responding to the moment. So that would be my take on it. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Great. And so I'm also a performer. I have a little bit of background in puppeteering, and I'm learning more and more. And I have my own way to go about creating my character, and I use my full body and my voice and my movement. Um, Now, how does it work with the puppet? Does the character come first, and then you create the puppet itself, or you start with the creation and then the character comes out? How does that work?
Well, you know, I think you could go both ways. Sometimes you do start with a character and then build it. And part of what when I work with kids, we talk, which I do a lot of, but we talk about like finding you sort of decide, well, how is this character, what about it needs to move? What about it needs to come alive? And then you build the character with those qualities. Of course, you can't move everything, and you don't need to. Just enough to get people's imaginations going. But and then the other ways, as I said, I mean, Ollie said it himself, is truly his character is so strong that he really did tell me what the next show was going to be about. And in that sense, once a character really gets strong, they have a life. In a strange way, they have a life.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
As a professional puppeteer, you get to see a lot of puppet shows. It's one of the perks of the trade, I guess. But what I've noticed in watching puppet shows is that I think that the shows that were created from the characters are the strongest in shows. The shows that were written down first and then puppets were created to go with the show, I think are oftentimes it gets kind of stuck, and I think that's because the puppets speak to some part of ourselves that's nonverbal, that they're visual pieces of art, and when and so they kind of bypass our verbal mind, and they go straight into our symbolic mind, and they talk to the metaphors and symbols that we think in pictures a lot. And so I think that when a puppeteer picks up a puppet for the first time, there's a lot going on there. There's a lot of nonverbal stuff that happens when you start looking at the puppet and you start thinking, okay, if I move this way, what happens? If I move this way, what happens? And every puppet is completely different. Even if they're the same type of puppet, they have a different way of moving, and certain little tiny things will suddenly bring it to life, and certain things will suddenly make it look dead. And so you experiment with those things as a puppeteer, and you try to find which things make it look most alive. Like one thing I noticed on this Google chat today was that I didn't want to keep my puppet just sitting there still. I wanted him to look around even when he's not talking and look like he's actually at a keyboard. So I was trying consciously to keep him alive, keep him looking around, keep him moving a little bit, show different angles. Things like that were kind of going through my mind with it. And I think that's really part of the job of the puppeteer, is to try to tune into the puppet. And then once you do start talking with a puppet, then you find out all sorts of things about who that puppet is. And it almost comes from an unconscious place, because we're responding to the way the light hits the materials the puppet's made of, and how it all plays together in our minds. And I don't know about you guys, I've been completely surprised by some of my characters with the things that they've said or done that I didn't plan. You know? And sometimes I get a little stuck because I don't know where it's going. But I just have to trust that my character knows, or will figure it out when it gets there.
Right. And so you mentioned materials, different materials that puppet could be made. And today we saw three examples of puppets that are mainly with cloths and felt, I think, or fabrics and buttons. But in your experience, I know you've seen lots of different kinds of puppets that you made yourself or from other people. I'm curious, what are some of the type of puppets or materials that have caught your attention or imagination?
Well, I could say something about that. I went to a puppetry festival, now I don't remember where, but I saw a shadow show, and I love shadow shows. And they can be as simple as just cut out tagboard, but this particular show, the puppets were three-dimensional and made out of little pieces of wood. So there were these ants that had all these, it was unbelievable. The moving parts, three-dimensional. It was amazing, and sort of how they cast the shadows was quite intriguing. So yeah.
I think the most fascinating puppet show I've seen was at a circus, and it was where the guy was wearing half of him was the puppet, and he could dance with this thing. So like as he spun, you could see the human, and then you could see the puppet, but you knew that he was the other half of that body. But it was just hilarious because after a while, you're watching so long, you know the puppet's really in charge.
I think there's an interesting thing that also happens with puppets that is related to materials that there's oftentimes puppeteers will get into almost a trap, I think, of trying to create something that looks exactly like a dog or like a bird or whatever it is that they're making, and they'll try to create an exact replica of it. But to me, the most interesting puppets are the ones that are the most abstract, that leave room for imagination. And so the materials that I like to use are often really simple and that leave enough room for the audience to come in with their imagination. Like if I just take this piece of cloth that's just a piece of cloth, and then I use my imagination to give it maybe some, I don't know, maybe like a head and then a little hand here. And then that might be enough. I'm just giving an example here, but that might be enough to trigger the imagination of the audience to say, oh yeah, I can see the hand, I can see the head, and I can even see that it has hair and it's brushing its hair, or maybe it's going to sneeze. Achoo! And so you can kind of see how your imagination works as a puppeteer, but then the audience's imagination meets you halfway.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Great. Okay, so we're going to start bringing the show to a close. At the end, I want to ask you if there's anything coming up that you want to promote. But before we do that, any final thoughts on puppetry today, live?
I think it could be a trend. We have shown how all of us come from different areas, different methods, and different skill sets. I'm the lowest. I am quite sure of that. But we can take these hangouts on air, the HOAs, and further educating and entertaining for children. I was thrilled when the comment came up about the 5-year-old engaging with these little jokes that we were just ad-libbing, and that's the joy that I receive, and I know that Margo and Chris, you do as well, that this is a tool that we could use to reach more children and those who like this type of entertainment.
Yeah.
Great.
I want to know if I can't remember if it was her son or daughter that was watching with her, but I want to know if they have a joke for us.
So maybe Giselle, if you're watching, ask your son if he has a joke for us. You can type it for him. Probably he's not gonna type it yet. Okay.
The mood help.
the mood will help. Margo, any final thoughts?
Well, I'm intrigued by this process and getting to just be on this virtual
show with a puppet.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Excellent, yeah. And I, as a host of EPC show, I'm also an educator. I teach Spanish, but I am a performer, and I will be doing more shows, some more related to language and technology coming up. I'm working on that, but I do put out a call to any other performers who want to try this medium and the possibilities it offers. To play along with me, and I invite you. Let's do another show together and see how else we can reach audiences all over the world. I have a comment from Giselle. Here it says, my brother has Down syndrome, and he had a puppet, Mr. Cool, all through childhood. Interesting. Thank you for sharing. Very cool.
Yes.
Great, and thank you, Giselle, for sharing with us.
Yeah.
Great. So,
And we can, and Pauline, can I remind the audience, the viewers, that just because when the show ends doesn't mean that the comments and interaction stops, because they can still talk and we can answer questions, so we can keep the comments coming.
Definitely. Thank you for that. So on that note, talking about coming, what's coming up in your life? Anything you want to promote? Anything coming up, Melanie?
Well, my shows, of course, I already mentioned those, but I'm going to be doing more video. I was going to say idio editing, because video editing. I'll never be able to accomplish that phrase again. Video editing. I'm gaining more experiences with YouTube. So that was priceless. Thanks.
We'll put it on repeat. I'll just take that portion. I'll put it on repeat on YouTube.
Believe me, I couldn't repeat that if I wanted to. That was strange.
Great. So we should see more shows and videos coming up from you?
Yes.
Great.
Absolutely.
Great.
Thank you.
Chris, anything you want to promote coming up?
Well, Z Puppets is going to be doing performances and workshops all throughout Minnesota this summer. And you can check our calendar at zpuppets.org to find out if there's anything going to be near you. And we're also really excited because we're actually in the process right now of moving our studio to a new space in South Minneapolis at 41st in Chicago. It's an old storefront, and we're renovating it to turn it into a creative arts and wellness center. So we're going to teach all kinds of classes and do some small performances, we hope, there. So that's what we're excited about.
That's great. Maybe one of these days we'll do a live performance coming up from your center.
Yeah, or a virtual tour of it, yeah.
A virtual tour, that would be great.
Yeah.
Margo.
Yeah. Well, Paulino and I are in a show together, and we're touring around Minnesota. So if you look at my webpage, I have the schedule. We'll be out this weekend. We're going to be in Clay County. We're doing the Clay County Fair in Barnesville, Minnesota. But look under shows on my webpage.
MargoMcCreary.com.
Yeah.
Great. Good.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, everyone. And those who are interested in the EPC show, Educators, Performers, Creators, and mind you, my ideas of educators, performers, and creators is very open-minded. So don't think you have to be a perfect teacher or a perfect actor or puppeteer. Anyone can be here. It's just bringing your talents in different ways. So I hope you connect with me at epcshow.com. I want to thank Chris, Margo, and Melanie for being here with me today. And everyone watching, I hope you keep connecting with us through your questions. Look for us on Google+, Facebook, and our website. And have a great weekend, everyone. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Take care.
Paulina.